The internet is going to crucify me for this hot take. Alright, let's not waste time, let's just get straight to the point. I believe the redesigns for the upcoming Star Fox Remake are great. Let me explain why. Undeniably, there will always be a charm in the initial character designs for the original Star Fox game, especially given the nostalgic sentimentalities that people feel towards Star Fox 64 particularly, and can you blame them?
Do a barrel roll.
Star Fox 64 was one of the best-selling games of the Nintendo 64 console and is still held up as a beloved classic to this day. In fact, Star Fox 64 remains to be the best-rated Star Fox game in the franchise, period. The only other game that I can think of that fans love to some same extent as Star Fox 64 would be Star Fox Assault for the Nintendo GameCube. And even then, in Star Fox Assault, Fox McCloud and his team had a bit of a redesign and people didn't mind that. Now obviously, I'm referring to the character designs of the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 version of that Star Fox 64 game. The upcoming remake is not just a new game, not just a means to revitalize the franchise, which I'll get into more detail later, but it is a straight-up HD 4K remake of that beloved Star Fox 64 game. It's taking a slightly different approach, but it's still the same core game, but just with some quality of life alterations from what I understand so far. Now, let's address the negative feedback first. Fans have displayed disgust towards the new Star Fox character redesigns, as they seem to lean a bit too much towards Uncanny Valley. A lot of that criticism was mainly oriented towards Fox and especially Falco. People felt like these new character designs clashed with the intended tone of the series, and people have said that if Falco were to appear in the next Super Smash Bros. Game, if it ever gets made, how is he supposed to perform a convincing dropkick with those skinny, scrawny feet? I imagine fewer fans would then ask how a Falcon is able to dropkick in other Super Smash Bros. Games in the first place, but that's besides the point. They feel like they can't really take Falco's redesign fairly seriously, looking a bit more like a chicken than an actual Falcon. All these concerns I will definitely keep in mind. Now, I'm going to dedicate the rest of this video to defending these redesigns, to give thorough reasoning as to why I believe these redesigns will work for this specific iteration of Star Fox. So first of all, my first defense for the redesigns for the Star Fox characters would be the fact that this upcoming remake for the Nintendo Switch 2 is said to be focusing more on the cinematic flair of the story mode. In that, from what I understand, there's going to be more cutscenes, and in turn, there's going to be more chance to further build these characters through interactions, through animations, through dialogues, and so on and so forth.
For example, in the Star Fox remake, there's more of an engaging transition between the training mode and the story mode this time. In that, we see the characters training, only to then get a major disruption during the training, unlike in the original game. Then we get a cutscene revealing they were training via virtual simulation, and the reason for the disruption is that they're called straight into action. It adds some much-needed ludonarrative harmony to this narrative. Well, that's clever. That is actually really clever.
Hey, who pulled the plug? Things were just getting good.
Sure, you almost managed to keep up with me.
Ha! Our self-proclaimed leader thinks he's real funny.
Now, I imagine people who prefer the classic game will say that the modern game is going to just meander around the point, whereas the classic game just got straight to the point whilst maintaining its adventurous tone. And yes, I appreciate the classic Star Fox game for maintaining that campy sci-fi opera Top Gun kind of tone throughout its game, throughout its campaign.
Side note, the tone is more akin to Thunderbirds, but hey-ho, having the character be portrayed by Glenn Powell has its perks.
Fox McCloud!
With this remake, on the other hand, I see an opportunity to possibly expand on the narrative in a meaningful way. Now, of course, the rest is just a matter of if said narrative elements are going to be executed well. This can be a chance to bring some meaningful characterization to Fox McCloud and Falco and Peppy Hare and Slippy Toad. And what's more, there's going to be a prologue during the mission where James Fox's dad got tragically betrayed by Pigma and Peppy Hare barely escaped with his life. In the original game, the events of what I just described were told to us, but this remake is going to explicitly show the characters going through that prologue sequence. If this is going in the direction that I hope it is, this could be a great opportunity to use the cutscenes to delve into Fox's internal grief, and Fox's struggle as a leader, and Fox's interactions with the other crew members in regards to everything that's happening. The kind of characterizations that, for as great as the classic game is, never really gave much room to showcase. But what has all this got to do with the redesigns, you may ask? The redesigns help to complement this shift in narrative course. In that, the overall narrative display is taking what could very well possibly be a more mature and grounded take on the story. So, to further complement that grounded tone, what better way to establish that than with these grounded redesigns that will add to the grittiness, and in turn, the sense of immersion. And speaking of cinematic flair, my second reason for defending these Star Fox character redesigns is that they resemble the original promotional material for Star Fox way back during the start of the franchise. During the promotion for when Star Fox initially launched into the public view, the poster depicted Star Fox and his team as something akin to Jim Henson puppets.
Most likely an homage to Thunderbirds, perhaps.
In fact, years later, to promote another Star Fox game, Nintendo had explicit Star Fox puppets be made for further promotion. At this point, I'm convinced that if the creators of Star Fox and Nintendo had their way, they would make a feature-length movie in collaboration with the Jim Henson Company to make the ultimate Star Fox movie. Now, in this case, I'm not just referring to the Muppets, I'm referring to the expansive works of the Jim Henson Company. So think Storyteller, The Dark Crystal, think Labyrinth, other expansive works by Jim Henson. Think of Star Wars, that had a lot of Jim Henson puppetry set in a sci-fi operatic setting. I can imagine the classic Star Fox designs would blend in well with something like the Clone Wars TV series. I would imagine the redesign would blend in much better with, say, the original trilogy. Think about it. Imagine if these redesigns were made into full-scale Jim Henson-like puppets. How cool would it be to depict them flying different aircrafts? The point I'm trying to make here is that this redesign is clearly paying homage to that original promotional material, just like how the redesign for Donkey Kong is both paying homage to the original Donkey Kong material, as well as combining it with the recent design of Donkey Kong to do its own thing. So in layman's terms, it's a form of loving legacy. My third reason for defending the Star Fox character redesigns, and this is admittedly more opinionated, is that these redesigns reflect the animalistic parts of these characters in a rather engaging way. Now, there's gonna be people out there who have no sense of fun and will nitpick at the prospect of anthropomorphic animals flying these jet planes. However, these redesigns will give more of a sense of credibility to the concept of anthropomorphic animals piloting these lie-wit wing systems. It can very well echo the sentimentalities of other great sci-fi media like Star Wars and Star Trek, where all these different creatures from all these different systems come together for a common cause. My fourth reason for defending the Star Fox series, and this is coming from more of a business perspective, is that if they're going to reboot Star Fox again, be honest with yourself. Do you really just want the same thing again, but in HD?
We all know Star Fox Zero certainly tried, and well, the results speak for themselves, in that the game still has to be mechanically satisfying to play in this case.
It's easy to do that these days, but more often than not, it could just kind of turn out to be kind of boring and pointless. Oh sure, you'll have constant console ports of beloved games like the classic Resident Evil 4 and Skyrim being ported to almost every console under the sun, and people won't bat an eye about it. I'm sure if the same thing was done with the original Star Fox 64, for the Nintendo 64, people wouldn't bat an eye on that either. Just speaking hypothetically here, I know Nintendo doesn't want their own franchises on other consoles. But let's be honest here, Nintendo received some flashback, and understandably so, for just repeating the exact same game for not just the second time, but the third and arguably the fourth time if you've paid attention to the Star Fox game franchise.
Okay, forgive me for using Wikipedia, but... Wait. Biff? Biff?
Fans, do you honestly just want the same thing again, but in HD? If that's the case, then why not just make a whole graphical overhaul of the original game and just call it a day? Even the Shadow of the Colossus remake for the PlayStation 4 offered more variety of things to do as loving homage to the original PlayStation 2 game. People adore the remake of Shadow of the Colossus not just because it's a graphical overhaul of the classic game and that's that. It's also because they've added in just a few gameplay elements that adds to the intrigue of exploring the world, which in turn was already part of the intrigue of the original game in the first place. In regards to making a new version of the game, games that have been praised for this kind of thing would be the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube, later ported in HD to modern consoles, as well as the remake of Resident Evil 4. For many video game fans, these two games are also excellent examples on how to create remakes done right. In that, they took everything that fans loved from the original iterations and made their own in-game variations to make their own version of the game stand out, to feel fresh. Now beyond that, the reason why this upcoming game for the Nintendo Switch 2 is remaking Star Fox 64, once again, is because the Star Fox franchise has undergone a lot of underwhelming neglect. So logically, if you want to reboot the series, why not appeal to the most critically acclaimed and beloved game of the franchise? People may not like that fact, but it's appealing to the fans who loved that original game, and they need to revitalize the franchise somehow, so why not take the best possible option that they've got? Call it lazy, but in order to revitalize the franchise, that was the best possible aspect to go through. And so to prevent that revitalization from becoming lazy, these redesigns help to support the enhancement of the narrative that I've been indicating earlier. And fifthly, this reason is a bit more of a joking jab than anything, admittedly, but logically, I think it needs to be addressed. Fox McCloud and his friends have been redesigned before, and I know people are going to get angry at me for saying that. Okay, let's be fair. I understand that people don't like the Star Fox redesigns because they take too much of a drastic turn in contrast to Star Fox Assault. To which I would say that these redesigns don't necessarily deviate from the subject matter and intended tone that the game series was aiming for. It's just that this remake is taking more of a mature and grounded approach to said tone.
And my sixth reason for defending the redesigns for Star Fox Nintendo Switch 2 Edition and I know I'm using Wikipedia, not the best reliable source, but regardless, according to this Wikipedia article, Takaya Imamura himself, the Star Fox team's original character designer, said he preferred Fox's design in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. People who saw that movie generally agreed that Fox McCloud was probably the best part of that movie. Even though Imamura preferred the design of the movie, he was nonetheless supportive of the 2026 game and praised its clear direction. Despite preferring the cute art style of the movie, he cited the designs of the 2026 game as exactly what he had in mind when designing for Star Fox 64. He concluded no matter what style or arrangement they take on, the moment these four come together, they're instantly recognized as Star Fox. So there you have it. The original character designer himself approves, despite the divisiveness.
Overall, I'd say these redesigns for these characters work for a more mature and grounded approach to the series that will elevate the sense of immersion for this HD 4K remake for the Nintendo Switch 2. It will add to the immersion and to the grittiness, And if the narrative goes to where I think it's going, then the character redesigns could be a very wise choice indeed. Now, Nintendo is not really well renowned for peak narratives in video gaming,
With arguable exceptions.
but even so, I hope that Nintendo takes this opportunity to really make the most of what they established with this franchise, make something meaningful with this reiteration, and hopefully they can do it right. But of course, time will tell if the game is actually good. But from what I've been hearing so far, people have tried out the free demo and people have been loving it. So it seems that the character redesigns have actually paid off so far in many ways. As for the rest of the game, time will tell. What do you think of the Star Fox redesigns? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comments down below, and I look forward to constructive conversations in the comments down below. I'm sorry if I provoked you thoroughly, but I'm just trying to point things out constructively. Stay tuned to this channel and subscribe for my own review of the original Star Fox game and my review for the remake of said Star Fox game for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a game to play. I'll get back to you on my verdict on it.
We're heading out. All aircraft report.
You did it! I was worried for a moment.
You're becoming more like your father. I'm fine. You okay over there, Fox?
Obviously, this particular remake that we're talking about, that's up and coming for the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch T2. Nintendo Switch T2. Now, obviously, we're talking about the character redesigns for the Nintendo Switch T2. I said it again! Ah!